are with our video 404. So we wanted to talk about something that MyrLynn Anderson.
That's me.
Oh, she loves me to use her last name. He
hasn't worn it out yet.
Okay, so if you have watched any of our other videos, MyrLynn, this is for you. Okay, putting a little cologne on.
I love it.
Okay,
that's awesome.
I smell.
Oh my gosh.
Oh,
there is something about smell.
There is a line. There's a line right here. You do not cross it. You don't touch. You don't look. You don't pucker up.
Hot.
Okay,
Nope.
You don't bat your eyes. No butterflies. No biting fingers. No biting lips. No biting tongues.
This wasn't fair.
Oh, it's never fair.
This wasn't fair.
Oh, you're so welcome. Oh, I smell good. Like really good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Brat.
So,
Such a brat.
So anyways, we wanted to do our video on what?
We're going to do our video on triggers.
Triggers!
Triggers.
Oh, I love triggers.
We had
Wait, triggers?
Triggers. Triggers? Should we do triggers? No.
No.
Not smoking tonight. Triggers.
Oh. Another secret. Another secret. See how easy that flowed off of her lips? Not smoking tonight. She is. Later.
I'm getting more.
Depends on how well this video goes.
So we had an interesting experience this afternoon, Tyler and I. And yeah, we're going to talk about triggers. So what happened was Tyler was at my house for dinner because, you know, we do dinner every night together. We're together all the time.
Dinners, card games, sleeping in people's beds when you're not here.
Costco
trips.
Late night Winco trips, grocery store, whatever, you name it. But what happened was...
Just not dates.
No dates. Mm-mm. What happened was my daughter and her friend happened to be here. So we're at the house. We had dinner. After dinner, Tyler says, I need to use the bathroom.
Oh, I love where this is going already. Was it the fun kind or was it the not fun kind?
I don't know those details.
Oh, should we talk? Because there's no secrets.
No, all I know is that the next thing I knew, he was walking down the hall and he says, I'm using your bathroom. And I think he probably saw a side of me that he hasn't seen yet.
Okay, but hold on. Finish the story. So I was going to use your bathroom.
Yeah, he's going to use my bathroom.
Her master bathroom.
No.
Oh, it was a lot more than that.
Okay, then you
make it sound,
I don't remember.
It's like, no, don't do it. No. Like, I feared for my life. Like, seriously. Like, I thought
so much for his life.
I had to lock her door. Like, I slammed the door. Slammed the door shut, locked it. And I'm in there giggling.
He locked himself in my room.
Laughing.
And I am like on the other side. And you know, when a trigger hits and it was just panic.
Oh, it was dead panic.
It was panic. And I am like turning the door off.
She about ripped the doorknob off.
I'm banging on the door. I'm thinking, where's the spare key that I can go unlock my door? If I bang this hard enough, is he even going to open it? I don't know what to do.
I
was almost in tears. Almost.
Well, I was laughing.
He was laughing.
But then I quickly sensed after maybe 3 or 4 minutes of my laughing, I was just like, wait a minute, this is...
Something's off.
It took me a minute to get there. But you know what? I'm a divorce, so what do you expect?
Something was off. And you know what? I mean, we've
us divorced people have problems.
Yeah, and we've spent a lot of time together, but there really hasn't been a trigger happen before. So he finally opened the door and we had a conversation, but also like it was such a big deal. My daughter and her friend came out to see what was going on because we caused a commotion.
Oh, that's what we do.
But here's the thing, is that afterwards we were able to be like, hey, what happened here? Because I think that there's oftentimes triggers that happen in marriages, they happen in relationships, they happen in any type of relationship.
So just a second. So you said something that's really important. I wanted to actually, make a distinction between the two. So they happen in marriages. Mm-hmm. They happen in single life. I think a lot of times people think, oh, well, I have triggers, right? And I don't think people understand or put together that there's a correlation as well with triggers within marriages. So that's something that I think really needs to be looked at because, if you have an ongoing problem, if you've got something where you're just like, hey, look, you know what, this keeps occurring or reoccurring to me. these are things you need to look at to say, okay, well, is this a potential trigger? So I guess let me ask you this. What exactly is a trigger, would you say, in our layman's terms?
For me, I would define a trigger for me as something that, I mean, there's an emotion, there's something that comes up, and sometimes you don't realize why it's coming up and why in your present moment you are feeling this. When it was just a simple, Tyler was going to go use my bathroom. But when you can dig underneath and you get through the layers and realize that it's something from your past, either a trauma,
A trauma point.
a big trauma, a big
Yeah.
T, a little T, something like that
Oh, wow.
happens. Yeah. So, and that's what it was. But what was interesting after this, and we were talking, for me then to understand why Tyler wanted to use my bathroom, because he's been at my house a lot and there's no problem. He always uses the main bathroom. But for some reason,
No, the pencil challenge. I'm trying to do the pencil challenge real quick. It doesn't work.
but for some
just dropped
reason
it.
tonight he needed to use my bathroom. I'm ignoring him because we're getting into
Okay.
we're getting into a serious thing,
No,
and Tyler
I'll
can't stay
I'll
serious
come
very
back.
long. He can't stay down in it. So that's okay. You're working on it.
Oh, my pencil challenge was a giant failure.
So it was just interesting for us to be able to just sit and say, okay, because I spent probably 2 hours figuring out what really happened. And, but then to now know why he didn't want to use the main bathroom. And it was just a simple communication thing. Had there been a communication before of, hey, MyrLynn, can I use your bathroom because of this? None of that would have happened.
Well, the truth, but an interesting point too, though, is you have to look at it and say, okay, well, sometimes we don't understand that there needs to be that communication or that dialogue. I mean, for me, I would have never thought, okay, well, me going in and using your bathroom when you're not in your room and you're not in your bathroom, and you and I honestly hang out more than a married couple does. Like, I never would have thought that would have created anything. So when I went in there, and then when you came running after me, then I thought it was just kind of like a race to see who could get into your room first. I don't know. I didn't know what it was.
Yeah.
But that wasn't what it was for you. So, but that's what's hard, because you know what? Sometimes you don't understand to know that you need to actually have a conversation on it and say, okay, well, this could be a problem. And I think that that's where you really have to look at it and say, okay, well, communication or understanding ourselves or learning to know what to look for, with some of these hot, cold, behaviors that we might be having.
Yep.
And go ahead.
Well, sometimes it just happens so fast. I mean, it happened so fast, and
Yeah.
it was fast. I don't even know that. I mean, I realized what was happening, but not really. And not knowing that my door was going to lock, it was just it was a great learning experience for sure.
So let me ask, so we know that triggers will affect singles and marrieds. We know that triggers can come into a relationship if you are married or at any point early on in the relationship. Oftentimes that can come from things that maybe are before the relationship, different things we go through. I think also as we're in a relationship for a lengthy amount of time, you can also look at it like a 30-year marriage. Things can develop over time as well. For an example, when someone snaps their finger and they slap the side of their the side of their thing, because they're just like, get up here like you're some kind of a damn dog. These are things that over the course of time, because I have some things as well that are triggers for me, where I'm just like, okay, you do that, and I promise you, I will absolutely come unglued. Like, I will just start ripping things apart.
So how do you think you handle those when you're getting into a relationship? I mean,
or you already are in a
yeah,
relationship.
and that's happening. I mean, it's like, do you sit down and discuss them openly before they ever happen? Because I would have never thought really that this would have happened.
No, you're not going to be able to discuss them all. You're not going to catch them all before they happen, because it's like a trigger.
Yep.
When you pull the trigger of a gun, it discharges, right? There's a reason why it's called a trigger. Same thing with what we're going through with emotional, physical, mental, whatever behaviors. Same thing, they're triggers. And you know what? You may have something that you don't realize is a trigger until all of a sudden it happens. You're like, oh,
Yep.
that's a trigger. So, but I guess let me ask you this. So I don't think you can catch them all.
No, definitely.
And I don't expect you to, because you know what? To imply such would say that we're not human. Okay, we are human. So I think the better thing to look at it is to say, okay, when we experience triggers, which we're going to, and you know what? Most everybody has them. Probably everybody. Not probably, everybody has triggers.
I think it's important to note too that sometimes you're going to have a trigger and not really realize where it came from. I mean, there's things with the subconscious that you're going to have triggers and really not sometimes be able to even explain them. But you've got to be able to communicate. I mean, after an incident happens or whatever, instead of
That's the key. So the key is to communicate. The key is to not shut down.
Mm-hmm.
One of the biggest things that we will do, I feel like, that when we experience a trigger is, what do? We shut down. We're just like, I can't handle this. This person doesn't care. This person is not sensitive to my needs. And so, this has happened to me in relationships, where I have had things like this happen with myself or with maybe a woman that I'm getting to know, where the trigger happens and we do shut down and we do stop communicating. And that is the biggest factor, is us not being able to identify that that's what we're experiencing, to shut down, because that's not fair for the other person. I mean, you can't, some of the triggers, but you know what? If you're in a relationship long enough where triggers have developed within that relationship, I also feel like that you need to be able to have that conversation with your partner as well. And I will say that if they're not receptive, like if you're not getting the feedback, or if you're not getting, really the response back you're looking for, then you really need to say to yourself, okay, therapy might be the case. You might talk to some friends or some family, or you might do some research on the internet to try to get there to say, how do we fix this? Because I will tell you this, the one thing you don't want to do is to just never mind it. If you say out of sight, out of mind, guess what? It's really not, until it happens again.
Yeah. And is the one with the triggers, you've got to be able to talk about it. Nobody can help if you can't say anything to your partner, to whoever. Those situations will just keep coming back. So you've got to get in a place where you can communicate it.
So I guess in kind of summing this up, we all have triggers. It's nothing to beat ourselves up over. Mm-hmm. We need to learn that once we identify that is such, we need to learn to be able to not shut down. We need to learn to be able to communicate with that individual or individuals that have caused that triggering, to be able to have that sit down. If you don't get the response, or you don't get the, just the level of sensitivity you're looking for, I mean, you may want to look at that and say, okay, because I mean, that part of that is indicative of relationships and where you're at in your relationship. If you're not getting what you need from your partner, you may need to look at that and say, okay, well, there are avenues out there for us to go to. I have talked to multiple people that have said therapy is for everybody. Now, I'm not suggesting therapy is for everybody, but I'm just saying I've heard that. But I've also heard people out there that have said, okay, well, once you get into therapy, their goal, a good therapist, their goal is to get you in, get you the help that you need, so you can start working on it on your own, and then get you back out on your own. I mean, it's not a repetitive or a perpetuating, meeting or cycle with a therapist. And so you need to look at that as well. And again, I'm not trying to advocate for therapy, but I am telling you that I feel like that we need to do things in a way, because you want to know what? I can tell you this: divorce absolutely sucks. And so does an unhealthy marriage and an unhappy marriage, and anything that lets us or prevents us to have our ability to thrive. Yep. So, okay. Yeah. We love you. Do you have anything else?
No, it was great.
Oh, we love you. Oh, we love you.
Thanks for hanging out with us. We really appreciate it, though.
So, okay. If you have, I will say this, you know what, if you've enjoyed this video, leave some comments, because we don't ever really get comments, that just tells us what your thoughts are. And you know what I would really love, not for me, but for my best friend, MyrLynn Anderson. You know what? Share it. If you feel like it's a good video, share the video, because we really are trying to do our best to do something good. We're excited. We know that it's going to go somewhere, and we would love to have you be along for the journey. So, okay, we love you. Have a good night.
Bye.